RabbitMQ is a powerful message broker that allows distributed systems to communicate efficiently. One of its core features is clustering, which enables high availability and scalability. In this lecture, we will explore clustering, what a cluster is, and the role of nodes in RabbitMQ. Clustering in RabbitMQ refers to the process of connecting multiple RabbitMQ servers or nodes together to function as a single logical unit. This enhances reliability and performance by distributing message processing across multiple machines. Key benefits of clustering include scalability, that means we can add more nodes to handle higher loads. Also fault tolerance, so if one node fails, others can continue working. And finally, load balancing. It spreads the workload across multiple nodes. Now, when we are doing clustering, we need to understand what exactly is a cluster. A cluster is a group of interconnected RabbitMQ nodes that share message queues, exchanges, and other resources. Applications can connect to any node in the cluster and interact with the system seamlessly. A cluster can have two or more nodes. Queues are created on a specific node but can be accessed from any node in the cluster. Clients can connect to any node to send or receive messages. Now let's understand what nodes are. A node in RabbitMQ is a running RabbitMQ instance. Each node in a cluster plays a specific role in message processing. In our RabbitMQ container, we have a RabbitMQ server, and that single RabbitMQ server is a single node. A node is a point, right? In networking and hardware, node is different. In Docker networking, node means something different, and in RabbitMQ clustering, node means something different. But node is a point. Different points connecting to each other and then forming a network. And each point is a node. So each RabbitMQ server is a node. And each RabbitMQ server is running separately in an individual container. So those individual containers are also single nodes. Alright, so there are different types of nodes that we have in RabbitMQ. We have a RAM node. It stores only transient data and relies on disk nodes for persistent storage. And then we have disk node. These store both transient and persistent data, ensuring data durability. To create a cluster, at least one disk node is required. Now let's see how clustering works. We start multiple RabbitMQ instances, and each instance acts as a node. We join nodes into a cluster, and the nodes communicate with each other over the network. And finally, we have message distribution, so queues can be accessed from any node in the cluster. And if a node fails, another node can take over processing. For example, imagine you have an e-commerce platform where users place orders. If RabbitMQ is running on a single node and that node crashes, order processing stops. By using clustering, multiple nodes handle messages, ensuring that orders are processed even if one node fails. Now let's take a look at some common cluster configurations. We have a single cluster, which is a basic setup with two or more nodes. And then we have a federated cluster, which is used for connecting geographically distributed RabbitMQ clusters. In conclusion, clustering in RabbitMQ is essential for building scalable, fault-tolerant, and highly available messaging systems. By understanding clusters and nodes, you can create robust architectures that ensure uninterrupted message processing in production environments.